I'm finally ready to talk about my mastitis experience. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I gave birth on August 31st, and on Sunday, September 7th, is when my mom was going back home. She was here for the birth and stayed for that first week-ish, just to help and to be with Aurora and to help me. And so on Sunday, September 7th, she headed back up to Idaho. On Monday, September 8th, and it was at nighttime, I want to say, like 7 p.m., I was just not feeling very well at all. So I checked my temperature, and it was 102.2, and I was having like horrible chills. So I took some Tylenol and ibuprofen, and I just took them together because I'm like, what the heck? Why do I have a fever? It didn't even dawn on me or occur to me that it could be mastitis, like, at all. The Tylenol and ibuprofen did help a little bit, and I was able to go to sleep that night. Early in the morning on September 9th, which was Tuesday, it was like 5 a.m., I woke up and I thought I was actually dying. Like, I've had the flu, COVID, all that, everything. Nothing felt like this. I was shaking so bad, I thought I was going to have a seizure. Like, I was miserable. And I checked my temperature and it was 103.5, and I was like, what in the world? So I took more medication, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go into the doctor, but it's 5 in the morning, and I was hoping to get a little bit more sleep. But like, I'm not even joking, like 15 minutes later, I'm like, I feel like this is going downhill super quick. So I checked it again, and it was 104.1, and I'm like, okay, I have to go in. Like, I've got to get up. I've got to somehow pull it together, and I need to get in. Like, this is not good. I actually think I'm gonna die. I waited for Jackson to get off to school, and then I had my sister take me into, it was like a standalone emergency room, so it wasn't attached to a hospital. Before this, I did try to get through to my primary care provider, and it said they were out. I tried to call on Monday, and it said they were out until September 9th at like 9 a.m. And when I pressed the button to be transferred to the on-call nurse, it did like absolutely nothing. Like, something was messed up with the system. So that option was out the window. So we go in, and I hadn't even noticed. Like, the doctor asked, are you having any redness? And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention, because you have to realize, like, this beginning part of the recovery, I'm like barely surviving anyway. Fevers aside, like, even like no mastitis involved. The C-section, a newborn, a teenager, just like everything. So I actually didn't even know. I hadn't even looked at my boobs to see. We take a look, and it was mainly on my right side that I had a lot of redness, but it was also starting on my left. So I was having like bilateral redness, and he was certain at that point that it was the mastitis, but he decided to go ahead and order some blood cultures, which they have to take from both arms, which I'd never done this before, so it was interesting to learn. He did get me IV Ancef, which is an antibiotic, and then they also did IV Toradol, which actually really helped a lot, because I was shaking so bad. I was so sick. Like, the oral medication of like ibuprofen, Tylenol, all that, it was not even touching it at this point. Like, it was out of control. He talked about sending me via ambulance to the actual hospital to be admitted and to continue doing the IV antibiotics, because they couldn't admit me where I went. It was, like I said, like a standalone emergency center. And even though my sister was there with me, like, she was expected to be back to work the next day. And if I'm going to be admitted, I can't exactly like bring Aurora with me. So my sister reached out to my mom and asked if she could come back down so that I could be admitted, basically, and get the IV antibiotics that I needed to clear this. My mom, I was shocked that she was even able to do this and did this. She just told her work, even though she had just got back from being gone a week, and she packed up her stuff and just headed down. And by the time she got here, it was pretty late at night, and I was just like exhausted. And at this point, I had the IV Ancef in me, and then I had taken 2 doses of the amoxicillin oral, because he sent it orally just to get going on it. And the instructions were to go to the hospital, especially if it wasn't getting better. He said within 12 to 24 hours if I was still having fevers, because I asked about the possibility of just staying home and having my mom help with the baby. I was in so much pain, and I was so sick. I was like, I don't even feel like I was still in this realm. I was so sick. It was insane, and it came out of nowhere. Like, I'm not, I mean, the first clue should have been the clogged duct, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to develop mastitis. So, anyway, regardless, it was the most excruciating experience. I honestly want to say I've had, like, it was so bad. Honestly, worse than like the C-section recovery. It was insane. It was at this point that I was like, I am done. I am done pumping. I am done even trying. Like, I'm just doing formula, and I gotta get through this. Like, I have to get better. It's interesting because my mom had mastitis when she had me, and then my grandma told me that she also had mastitis when she had my mom. So it's apparently a lot more common, at least in our family line, but it's a lot more common, I believe, in general than I even realized. It was at this point, like, my mental health was going downhill so fast and so bad, and I was half wondering if I was developing postpartum depression because of just where I was at mentally, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't do it anymore, and my main goal was, like, surviving, literally, and making sure Aurora was okay, and Jackson, and just getting through it. But like I said in my last video, it was such an emotional decision for me to make, and I just couldn't stop crying. Like, even the nurse at the emergency room was like, you can still keep pumping, and I just burst into tears, because I'm like, even the thought of it with how miserable I was, I'm like shaking uncontrollably. My fever was so bad. I was in so much pain. Like, I was so scared to even have them examine my breasts because they were just so painful, and I didn't even realize it because I was so focused on the fever. So I don't even really know when, like, that severe pain started. It just, everything felt like such a blur, and it was a really, really difficult time. Like, truly. One of the hardest times I think I've honestly gone through. It was so miserable. So I am happy to announce that I did not have to go back to the hospital for IV antibiotics. The next day, my fevers were totally gone. I was on the amoxicillin, which I was shocked. I thought they'd give something, like, stronger, I guess. But I was on it for 10 days, and it really did. It cleared it up, and I'm better, and I feel better mentally. I don't feel like I'm dealing with that postpartum depression that I was kind of getting concerned about. And Aurora's doing great, and yeah, overall, that is something that I am grateful I will never have to experience again, and I truly have the utmost compassion and empathy for anybody who goes through something like that. I mean, I had no idea. Like, you hear mastitis and you just think, oh, okay, like, you know, an infection with their boobs. You don't realize that it's literally called the boob flu for a reason. It, like, you feel like you have the flu, but it's, like, worse. Like, I can't explain it. It's so bad. I think that's all I really have to say and update on in regards to that. And yeah, I will be back for our 1 month update, which is so crazy. I looked up, like, how long the newborn stage lasts, and according to everything I see online, it says 28 days. And I just think it's so breaks my heart that we're, like, actually ending the newborn stage. Like, it doesn't feel like it went by super fast in terms of, like, what the beginning was like, because it was so miserable that it felt, like, insane. But as far as this last bit, it is just flying by, and I know that that's how it's going to be. All of these other milestones and updates. So we'll be doing our 1 month update here, actually, probably in a few days. We're about there in, like, 3-4 days. So anyway, that is it, and yeah, bye.